Our journey from Istanbul to Athens traced the shores of history with the origins of civilization as we sailed the Aegean Sea. It was a compelling blend of Eastern and Western cultures as we traveled the ruins of Troy, long steeped in myth, stopping at historic Ephesus and experiencing the wonders of Rhodes and Crete, eventually staying in Athens after porting at Piraeus. A bucket list trip into our own antiquity and family. In Istanbul, Turkey, our goal for pre-ship was to immerse ourselves in the history of the Ottoman Empire for 5 days, visiting Topkapi Palace, the Blue Mosque, and the Hagia Sophia on this fully guided extension. We visited the Grand Bazaar and a spice market and savored Turkish culinary delights, complemented by a suite of optional shore excursions and a stay at the Four Seasons on the Bosphorus Strait. Day 1, after a late check-in, we get a good rest. We had a time getting through London Heathrow with the heat wave, delayed flight, terminal change, short connection to Istanbul, long day, and confusing airport. We needed the rest, only finding out the next day others had it worse. Day 2. After breakfast, we set out to explore Istanbul's cultural treasures, visiting the Topkapi Palace and hearing intriguing stories of those who resided within these walls. We continued to the Blue Mosque, a revered architectural masterpiece, and the Hagia Sophia, a landmark that has witnessed the rise and fall of several empires, and visited the Basilica Cistern, an underground water supply for the Old City. After a gourmet lunch, we continued to the Grand Bazaar, the world's largest marketplace. Day 3, after a light breakfast at the hotel, we set out into the countryside to enjoy a farm-to-table brunch experience in an idyllic setting. We then indulged in a feast of Turkish specialties of fresh, organic produce and artisanal delights, then journeyed to the Beylerbeyi Palace on the shores of the Bosphorus Strait, a summer retreat enjoyed by royals and sultans for centuries. After browsing the stalls of a local spice market with a kaleidoscope of colors and aromas, we enjoyed an evening dinner at the Four Seasons, which included Asiatic caviar spaghetti. What a treat! Istanbul's Old City walls, spice market, and Rustam Pasha Mosque was on the menu for the 4th day, as we journey into the heart of Istanbul, visiting a beautifully tiled, seldom-seen mosque and the bustling spice bazaar. We join our guide for a scenic drive along the ancient walls of Constantinople, a UNESCO World Heritage Site containing portions that date from the 4th century. Then we proceeded to the Rustam Pasha Mosque, built in 1561. This is one of the city's hidden treasures, often ignored in favor of the Blue Mosque that towers beside it. Inside, we found exquisitely colored Iznik tiles of blue, red, green, and purple covering the entrance, the pulpit, and its columns, considered some of the finest examples of Ottoman ceramic art. We were required to wear modest dress as required to enter places of worship. Arms and legs would have to be covered at all times, and women were required to wear a headscarf. Next, we traveled to the famous Spice Bazaar for a sensory experience that reflects Istanbul's role as a crossroads of trade between East and West. Its mix of colors and scents enchanted our senses as we browsed the vendor stalls. After, we returned to the ship. In Troy, Çanakkale, we separated as George explored legendary Troy with an expert guide and took in the sights of Çanakkale. He rode the bus into Anatolia to view the incredibly preserved city of Troy. Once a thriving ancient city of Asia Minor, today this archaeological site shows evidence that as many as 9 settlements existed on this spot over millennia. He also had his fortune told in coffee grounds that proved to be true. A good trip through the Aegean. Troy is most remembered as the setting of the Trojan War, described by Homer in the Iliad. Troy saw its peak as part of the Roman Empire under Augustus, but lost its sway as Constantinople and the Byzantine Empire rose to prominence. He heard the story of Helen of Troy and saw the walls that were besieged during the famous war. As he explored, the guide shared insights that brought the city's rich history to life. Later, he returned to Çanakkale for an orientation tour and time to explore on his own before returning to the ship. Mary, on the other hand, discovered Troy and visited the award-winning museum, digging deeper into the history of legendary Troy during a guided tour of its ruins and its award-winning Troy Museum. With her guide, she rode a bus into Anatolia to view this incredibly preserved city, a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1998. She heard the story of Helen of Troy and saw the walls that were besieged during the famous war. As she explored the ruins, the guide shared the city's rich history. Next, continuing to the Troy Museum, where 4 floors display a trove of rare artifacts from Troy and the surrounding region. Exhibits include grave markers, statues, ceramics, and more. She viewed fascinating items like history's first written treaty and one of the world's oldest sarcophagi, and learned more about the story of Troy through immersive dioramas, screens, and animations. After the visit, she enjoyed a lunch of local fare before returning to our ship. Ephesus, Kusadasi. We both took a tour of this fascinating ancient city. We explored one of the best preserved cities of antiquity in the world and walked the length of ancient Crete Street, strolled from Ephesus's upper gate to its lower gate. We joined our guide on a scenic bus drive through the stunning countryside of Selçuk to the Magnesian Gate, the ancient city entrance at the top of Crete Street. Then follow a gently descending route through one of the Roman Empire's most powerful outposts. Navigated some steps along the way, passing the finely crafted 2nd century Temple of Hadrian and the spectacular Great Theater, able to host 25,000 spectators. Marveled at the most recognizable building in the city, the Library of Celsus, built to house 12,000 scrolls. Its colonnaded facade is an outstanding example of a typical Roman public building. We didn't have much time to browse the craft stalls at the lower gate before our ship was off to Rhodes. Rhodes Town Walk and Palace of the Grand Master enabled us to stroll the streets of a medieval treasure. We got an excellent overview of the old town of Rhodes, Europe's largest active medieval town. We set out on foot to discover the treasures of this UNESCO World Heritage Site. We met our guide at our berth and walked the short distance to the city walls, passing through the imposing gate to explore the cobblestone streets. First, we went to the Street of the Knights, a narrow byway with medieval structures rising on either side. Just before entering, George was able to splash his feet into the Mediterranean. Then we passed colorful shops and the 15th century Hospital of the Knights, now home to an archaeological museum. This historic lane ended at the most colossal building of medieval Rhodes, the Palace of the Grand Master. Built during the 14th century, its exterior features crenellated walls, massive towers, and an unmistakable medieval aura. We stepped inside to glimpse its mosaic floors and collection of medieval furniture before returning to our ship. In the afternoon, we experienced modern and traditional life on Rhodes, discovering the duality of Rhodes during a journey through its modern center and a visit to a traditional house. Our guided tour drove us through the new town of Rhodes, passing Mandrake Harbor and Fort Nicholas. We saw 2 bronze deer that mark the site where the Colossus of Rhodes stood. We ascended Monte Smith, then continued to the medieval village of Koskinu. Here, we called on a traditional house that dates to the early 20th century. We learned about the daily lives of the people who lived there and viewed hand-woven textiles, ceramic ornaments, and the preserved pebble floor. Next, we headed to the village of Archangelos, where a long tradition of carpet and pottery making is kept alive by locals in traditional dress. As we strolled its charming streets and visited a local home, we enjoyed homemade bread, Greek delicacies, and conversation, all courtesy of the lady of the house. In Crete, we explored key sites of Heracleion, discovered the Venetian influences of the Cretan capital during visits to some of its key landmarks. We joined our guide for a short bus drive to Heracleion's old town, passing the city's remarkably preserved walls and old Venetian harbor, visited the renovated Heracleion Archaeological Museum, and learned the history of the Minoan civilization. Next, we took a short stroll to Demokratia Square, Liberty Square, following the inviting Dedalus pedestrian way toward the city center. At Lion Square, we had free time to explore on our own, perhaps at the Venetian-era Lion's Fountain. After, we returning to our ship to prepare for Knossos and Aerolithos. We then loaded on the bus and headed into the countryside of Crete, visiting the fabled palace of King Minos and explore a traditional Cretan village. After a drive amid the island's scenic splendor, exploring what remains of the once sprawling palace of Knossos, the legendary royal residence where Minos' wife Pasiphae gave birth to the Minotaur, half bull and half man, and where Theseus of myth destroyed the beast. With our guide, we view the throne room, a chamber located in the heart of the palace complex that was built for ceremonial purposes during the 15th century BC. Then continue to Erythos, a charming village that provides a glimpse into how the people of Crete once lived, exploring its museum to learn about daily life. Then strolled through narrow, colorful warrens to the main square to sample Greek snacks and sip raki, a local spirit, in the shade of the trees. We also witnessed preparations for a traditional Greek Orthodox baptism. In Athens, Greece's capital, we would visit the National Archaeological Museum. From the port of Piraeus, we would journey by bus into ancient Athens, passing the small harbor of Zia, whose 5th century BC dock still survives, and the elegant promenade at Mikrolimano. In the center of historic Athens, we saw the Hellenic Parliament and Syntagma, Constitution Square, as well as the distinctively uniformed Presidential Guard, or Evzones, at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Our scenic drive also includes views of Panathenaic Stadium and the Temple of Olympian Zeus. Following the panoramic tour, we visited the National Archaeological Museum, one of the world's great museums. Its vast array of exhibits provides a panorama of Greek civilization, from the beginnings of prehistory to late antiquity. Our travels continued for a traditional dinner and folk show at Zafiro Experience. We explored past professions, sample local delights, and enjoy a traditional dance performance. Embarking on a scenic drive into the heart of Athens to the Zafiro Experience, a destination venue that celebrates Greek tradition and heritage. Delved into the past and discover the professions of our Greek ancestors. Intriguing displays featuring a historic weaving loom, an olive oil press, a watermill, and more. We gained insight into the olive oil production process and sample a taste of locally made olive oil. After taking our seat in the main hall, we were served a buffet-style dinner of classic Greek cuisine and wine. While dining, traditional folk dances and music was performed, with some participation. Our post-excursion in Athens was to discover Greece's most spectacular sights on the Peloponnese Peninsula, with Athens as your base. We explore the remarkably preserved cities of Mycenae and Epidaurus. We visited Delphi, home of the oracle consulted by the leaders of ancient Greece, and marveled at the iconic sites of an ancient capital. On day 1 of our extension, we discovered Athens' main sites. We then headed to the Acropolis to view the Parthenon, one of the largest structures built in ancient Greece. We admired its stately Doric columns and majestic setting before continuing to the new Acropolis Museum, a repository of priceless artifacts. We enjoyed a leisure lunch at the museum, then transferred to the NJV Plaza Hotel at the foot of Greece's Unknown Soldier Memorial for our 4-night stay. Day 2, we discovered the Peloponnese Peninsula, home of some of Greece's most breathtaking ruins. At Mycenae, a millennia-old military stronghold, we passed through the Lion Gate to begin exploring this amazing site, including the foundations of King Agamemnon's palace and the tomb of Agamemnon. Lunch was included. In Epidaurus, we marveled at the massive ancient amphitheater. Locals still stage shows here to take advantage of its exceptional acoustics. Day 3 included a visit to Delphi, where an ancient oracle once influenced the fate of emperors and empires. Here, we discovered one of the most important museums in Greece, the Archaeological Museum of Delphi. Surrounded by the splendid beauty of Mount Parnassus, we marveled at the Temple of Apollo, the circular Tholos, and more. After exploring this magnificent site, we stopped in the picturesque mountain town of Arakova for lunch, then returned to our hotel and enjoyed an evening at the diners near the hotel. On day 4, we enjoyed a free day to explore Athens on our own. A simple stroll took us to the top of Lycabettus Hill, overlooking the Acropolis, and a ride on the Funiculator, tunnel tram going to the top of the hill. From there, we had a 360-degree view of Athens. Our final trip was to the Plaka district at the foot of the Acropolis. The next morning, we would board a plane back to Colorado. The trip of a lifetime came together with our daughter picking us up at the Denver airport, with everyone safe and healthy.